Okay. Let's see what we're getting into. Little unfortunate that you didn't get any ultimate charge there. Okay, so right here, you guys just gotta pick on the tank, right? At this point, what I would be doing is I would be going into like full damage mode. They don't have anyone who can stop your damaging orb. So at this point, you should only be throwing damaging orbs forward and doing all the damage that way, because you can pretty much heal your team with your mist, and that extra damage can actually start adding up quite a bit because they don't have a tank anymore. So yeah, heal them with the mist, and then that should have been a damaging orb sent probably right here so that it bounces a little more, right? I understand that they're a little low, but I don't even think you noticed they were low when you threw that. But this is whatever. Killing these people over here, like these two can deal with that. You could have started fighting these people. In fact, what I probably would have done at this point, because they don't have a tank, and their healer and their people are going to be focusing like here, so you can like dash in and like try to assassinate somebody. Like you can 1v1 the Genji, you can 1v1 the Sojourn, and you can 1v1 the Kiriko. Like um the Moira over here is the only one that you wouldn't be able to 1v1 just because like she has a lot more ways of getting out and she can heal herself. So if you could have just like dashed in to the backline, probably like dashed in over by this wall and then started attacking them, that way you have like that wall for some extra um, defense, could have really pushed this lead of them not having the tank here. But we'll keep watching. I like that you're using your orbs on cooldown. But yeah, see, if you would have been aggressive at that point earlier, they wouldn't have been able to do this for free. Because then they would have had to deal with you in the back line. And you would have generated space for your team. Possibly could have even saved the Echo, or at least traded the Echo. Like, if you lose a DPS, because, like, yeah, you were supposed to heal her at that point. If you lose a DPS, but you kill, like, a healer, like, that's totally worth it. Because they're still down a tank. The tank isn't even here yet. And then this guy probably wouldn't dive because he's gonna be down a healer and you're in the back line. So, like, you would have prevented this from happening. But I like that you're fighting him. That was a weird fade. That fade really did nothing for you. And now your tank is dead. And you got no one to absorb any damage from you, and you got no fade. So what I would do is I would have saved this orb because you have no way of surviving right now. I would have once I saw that the tank was the only one there. You're not going to save that tank. You're not going to You're not going to save your tank in a 2v what, like 4. That's just not going to happen. So once you see that the tank was the only one left there, you should have faded away. But since you wasted the fade, you should have just turned around, thrown the healing orb forward, and ran with it. That way, if they shoot you, the healing orb is going to heal you, and you can kind of live. Like, and use like this side over here to like try and jump around the walls and stuff. And you just need to buy yourself some time, because now you have this difference in spawn times. Your 2 DPS are now back up. So they're going to be about halfway here, and you two are just now dying. So these DPS, I'm going to predict, are probably just going to die. They don't have a healer to heal them to keep them alive for everyone else to like group back up. So like you get into this like offset, and this is like an issue that happens in low elo. Is like you get into this trap where like people are like trickling out one by one and they're not like timing up their like spawns. Um, so it's really important for you to like recognize like, oh, we've lost this fight. I don't want to be a part of that problem, especially as a support, because I can keep people alive long enough to try and like minimize the effect of this trickling that's about to occur. See, like, yeah, you just lost your Sojourn, your Echo's about to die. And if you would have been there, it's possible that you would have not contributed at all. But worst case scenario is like you die with them and then you're still like closer together, right? Like when they respawn, they're going to be closer to this than you guys were to them. But it just saves time. You see that this guy's low, and you're just kind of completely ignoring him. I don't hate this orb, but I hate that you're just standing here and not healing your other support. I feel like this is just tilt, because you did mention you were a little tilted. Alright, so this guy just wasted his jump. He's right here. You know Zenyatta is right behind you. What I would do is I would push up to about right here on this ledge, and I would fade and then jump with it, because you gain some crazy distance with it, and it puts you in the air, and low elo is less likely to look at you. So I would like, you saw that this guy can't jump back and fight you, so you know they're down one person. You don't really see this guy here, and you don't really see the rest of the team, but you can kind of tell that there's going to be someone on the bot. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to stand right here and shift, jump around. They're going to be less likely to see you, and then you can start fighting this Kiriko. You don't know that Kiriko's there, but you know somebody's there because you can see that the bot is there. I would have saved this orb for that. I don't know when you threw that orb, actually, but I would have saved it for this play. And if you do an orb and right click on the Kiriko, she's going to turn and see who you are. And if she turns and looks at you, she's less likely to teleport away. Like, you're just going to get that kill. Low elo, just keep in mind, like, a lot of the things I'm telling you is like low elo only. This only applies to low elo because like they don't have the awareness or the reaction or understanding of how to respond to certain situations. Kiriko, if she's getting shot, should not look at you. But what she's gonna do is she's gonna look to see like why is she taking damage from behind, and that's gonna be long enough. That's gonna be just long enough for you to kill her with an orb and a right and holding your right click on her. It works so way more often than you think it does. And then at that point, they're down a healer. At that point, you also got a pretty good position to heal your tank, and you can still do some damage after your tank is at full HP. Like, you also keep in mind, like, you don't have to keep your tank at full HP. You just have to keep your tank alive. If your tank is like this, I would still be fighting. It's not until they get to like right here that I would actually start paying attention to their HP. Like, I'm there to do damage. I'm there to carry. I'm not, if you kill somebody, that's less damage that's going to be put on your tank anyways. Plus, they got the Orb of Harmony, so like that's going to keep them pretty topped up as well. So that's what I would have done here. You see that Winston wasted his jump here. I would have started fighting this Kiriko, or looked to, and maybe you do. I'm about to press play, and we're gonna see. Maybe you're waiting for your orb to come off cooldown, but I'm gonna suspect that you decided not to do that, and I mean you're gonna be losing a lot of HP because you kind of just stood here in this orb. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. I mean, Genji ulti is kind of frustrating. I would have faded there though. Like, anytime you hear your character make a breath sound, it means you took some major damage, and you should just immediately hit shift. Just get, like, that should just be like an immediate response. Like, don't even think about it. Like, you hear your character take that breath sound, or like, you just hit shift, and then you figure out from there. Don't try and assess the situation, just immediately hit shift. It might not be the best play, but it's never the wrong play. But now we see that you have your ultimate, and she wasted her ultimate. This is huge. This is huge for you. This ultimate is going to time out, and what you need to do is you need to fade back here and immediately ulti. Because if she lives, you need to finish her off with this translucent, and then you also need to push the coalescence. That's what it's called. Sorry, the coalescence. You can finish her off with it, and then you'll still be charging it, and you can attack whoever is on the robot, which would be Sojourn and Kiriko. You're gonna kill both of them. You would get 3 kills here because she wasted her ultimate on literally nothing. That was a terrible ultimate, and you need to punish that because you have your ultimate. When you're doing a Moira versus Moira matchup, generally who pushes their ulti first is wrong. It's usually better to save your ultimate, especially in low elo. Because the only counter to your ultimate is her ultimate. So if she blows it like this, you have yours, you have such a huge advantage. Alright, but you guys get the kill, that's pretty huge. Shift. No. You shifted to save your ass. No, you shift into them and you ulti, because your ulti will regenerate your HP. Whatever damage you took there, it doesn't matter. You could have shifted in there and been super aggressive on them. I don't care. I don't care what happens to your team. You're about to kill the 2 people on the bot, and you're gonna get control of the bot. That's what matters right here. What you should be doing right here is you should have thrown a damaging orb, and you would kill this guy easy. It would bounce it off this wall here, so it's doing damage. It's doing damage. Bounces off, doing damage, and that on its own would do like half HP. And I bet you like you're about to do half HP with the right click. See, like right there, he would be dead. Not even a problem. You still get the kill, but it could have been faster. But that's also survivor bias, right? Like he could have lived. If he had deflect on, he probably would have deflected a lot of the damage at the soldier zones. Like you can't rely on your teammate to get the kill. And if you would have done what I said, you would have killed all these people, and there'd only be the Winston. Winston's not going to kill the 3 of you, 4 of you. I mean, the soldier would have still been alive too because he died to the Winston, but he's not going to kill the 3 to 4 of you. Okay, so you saw that there's 3 people here, and you know you have to fight, right? You guys have to win the fight with not much healing. You've recognized that. However, you chose the worst target to fight. You're not going to kill a tank on your own. Moira does a lot of damage, but she doesn't do that much damage. She can barely kill a squishy. You're not going to kill the Winston. Winston beats you every single time. You're never looking to kill the tank as Moira. You're looking to kill these squishy people. And so I like that you decided to fight. You just got to remember, like, you're not looking to fight the tank. You're looking to fight the squishies. Plus, you got way more cover up here anyways. Like, you got the bot that you could be circling around and buying time with and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, not a big fan of it. Also, still got your ultimate, so you still could have ultied these 2 squishies. And then, like, you could have charged it onto the tank. And when you're fighting Winston, gotta be careful of this ledge over here. That's always something to keep in mind. This area of the map is really scary because you gotta worry about this. But I'm sure you know that. I don't need to tell you that. Or maybe I do. But this is a perfect time to explain some technique. So like if you get shoved back, you can immediately fade and you would have lived. Fade should always be your response to like any... it should be like... I like to use it more reactive than proactive. In terms of being defensive. I'm not trying to predict anything with my fade. I'm not trying to dodge anything with my fade. I'm waiting until like something happens and I'm using fade to react to it. And like oftentimes, like if you get knocked off the ledge, you can immediately hit fade and you'll come back in. But your team got some pretty big picks here, right? You lost this support, which is unfortunate, but you killed the tank and the DPS. It's always good to keep in mind, like, oh, you even killed a support. That's huge. At this point, you should know that like Soldier just popped off. I think Soldier is someone you can play around. Um, if you're wanting to play a more defensive playstyle. Right, like I keep giving you advice on how to play like more aggressive, but if that's not working out for you, then you can play around like your strong side of the team, right? Like we haven't really seen the tank do much of anything. In fact, he's fighting Junker Queen, which I don't even think is that good in low elo. She kind of relies on her battle shout or whatever it's called, and that takes a little bit of timing and knowing when a lot of damage is going to come in, and that's just not going to happen in low elo. So I wouldn't be playing around the tank as much. Your Pharah was playing Echo, and they've done fuck all the entire game, so I wouldn't be playing around them. But your Soldier just popped off and got a triple kill, and you've seen Soldier lives like longer than anyone else. So, like if you're wanting to play a more defensive style, play around this Soldier a little bit. Like be next to him, heal him, keep him alive, help him with damage orbs, help him with right clicks. Like you and him could carry this. Like you've seen that he's proven himself, and it's really that's why it's important to like pay attention to your kill feed. So if that's better for you, that's better for you. That's not how I would personally play in low elo. Like I like to be the carry and the one making the big plays. But uh, a key thing to keep in mind is knowing when it's your turn to be carried. That is a technique. I think you spent a little too much time trying to heal that Pharah because she's like really out of position, and you know she's gonna come to you. Like I know she was low. The most I would have done is thrown a healing orb to her, but I'm not wasting my time and wasting my position to come help her. I need to be up here helping my tank. I need to be up here helping my DPS. I need to be up here getting us space. We don't need to be losing space to help the Pharah. Like you can turn and throw a healing orb to help her. Also, like, when you wasted that space, you could have wasted that. Like, you needed to use a cooldown. Any cooldown would have worked. You could have healed her with the mist and then faded back into your team, but you were just so far away that a lot of this stuff is like really slow. This is fine. You should have thrown a damage orb. Anytime you're fighting like this, you need to throw a damage orb. That's like half your damage. I like the aggressive ulti, but I think you gotta remember, combine your cooldowns. You need a fade to get to, like that wasn't a bad ulti. I like that you're fighting the enemy, but ideally you want to ulti like the supports. You could have faded into their backline like over here, or even like faded up these stairs a little bit. That way they have like no cover. What they're gonna have to do is they're gonna have to fight you. Your team's gonna be able to like push up, and you're fighting through them and healing your team at the same time. Like you're putting them in a terrible position. That's what I would have done. I don't hate that you're trying to fight them, but think about your positioning and like how you can capitalize on it. I don't like that you're fighting the Winston. At this point, you need to just fade. You guys lost the fight. You just fade and get away. Reset. I would have thrown this healing orb right away. Don't wait until you take damage. Throw it right away because it's going to put it on cooldown and you have one up. It's just way better to do it that way. I like that. I like ignore the Pharah, just throw the healing orb. That was good. This is all good. This is all good. All good. Yeah, just run them down. Don't heal the Pharah. No. I wouldn't heal the Pharah. I would have just kept pushing. They're panicked. They're panicking that they weren't gonna kill the Pharah. As you can see, like you guys won that fight. You just keep running them down. If your Pharah dies, so be it. What you're trying to do is you're trying to mess up their. You're trying to get them to trickle. The more people you kill with an offset timer, the more they're gonna trickle in, and you're just gonna win more. At this point, you should have shifted. I would have faded away. A little slow on that, but it is what it is. Everything was good up to that point. You blew a lot of ultis, and you have your ulti now. So every time you have your ulti, that's a perfect time to get aggressive on their supports, because you're just gonna mail those supports with your ulti. Don't ulti right now. Keep in mind, you can't heal when you're in the bubble. Your heals do not go through bubbles or walls. So playing around a Winston bubble is kind of frustrating. And I would have rather you just go fight the enemy. Like at that point, like you're not going to be doing much healing because of that bubble. I would have went and fought the enemy. But I mean, it worked out in the end. So helping a Reinhardt isn't necessarily the worst thing you could do. Reinhardt's like a 5-man team on his own if you can keep him alive. But that's only if you trust him. I like that you're being damaging here. And we're pushing. I would have thrown a damaging orb up there. That way it's like bouncing around up there, and it kind of makes them hesitate, or it punishes them for trying to peek over the ledge a little bit. You know, like up the stairs a little bit. You're kind of trying to do it all right here. I think what you needed to do is commit. You either needed to do damage, or you needed to heal. You can't throw like a healing orb and then try and do damage. Like that's just not gonna work. You either need to use a healing orb and be a heal bot. You need to throw a damage orb and be damage. You had to fight your way out of there. And what I mean by fight is like you can fight by healing or you can fight by doing damage. But anytime you're in a like fight or flight situation, or not fight or flight, but like when you're forced to fight your way out, like you can't take the middle ground. You commit to something. Yeah, kill the support, ignore the Winston. That was good. I think I think Winston heals when he's in his ultimate. I'm not sure about that, so I actually would have preferred you to like heal bot there, because he's just gonna out heal the damage that you pump into him. But I don't necessarily think it was a bad call. It was just kind of it was a risk. It was a gamble. It paid off. Taking gambles is fine sometimes, but right here you have your ulti. You're getting fucked up. Fade past them. Ulti. That way you regenerate health, and then you can also like DPS them. That was unfortunate. I mean, you almost had him. I think if you had your damaging orb, you would have got him, but you know, it's unfortunate. Chase that Moira! You're not accomplishing anything here. You just let the Moira get away. I would have chased her. She had less HP than you. Like, in a 1v1, the Moira with less HP is going to lose every time. I like this ulti, though. That was a really good ulti. I think you should have faded in. That way they can't run away from you like that. You got to remember to like use your fade a little bit more. But I like that you're thinking of killing them. Pressing that advantage. That was unfortunate. I don't think you heard the tactical visor.
No opposition is insurmountable.
You should be fading. You need to be fading off cooldown if you're gonna try and fight for overtime. Honestly, to save like your mentality, I wouldn't have even tried. Like you're just gonna be trickling in, and you're not gonna fucking do anything. So just accept that the game's over and just go next. Like you made mistakes. And sometimes your teams just lose. Like just accept the loss is over and just go next. Like don't worry yourself over it too much. But hopefully that helps a little bit. Hopefully we kind of poked at some things. I know I pointed out a ton of mistakes. And I want to emphasize something. You got to understand like they're not necessarily mistakes. I think you're trying to play Overwatch properly, and when you're playing low elo and you're looking to carry, like you're not playing properly. It's not the support's job to like carry the game like I'm telling you to do. And in a when you're looking at the game as a whole and you see like all these negative things I'm pointing out, like I'm not expecting you to do everything perfect, right? Like it's just like one or two things if you would have done better could have changed the entire outcome of the game. I'm not saying you needed to do everything that I pointed out, but in each of those situations, those are the things that I would have done that could have changed the outcome of that situation. So take it as like a singular thing. You didn't need to do everything I said. You just needed to do one thing that I said, and it could have changed. So when you feel like someone is so much better player than you, there are some plays that you made there that uh maybe in the heat of things I would have made the same play. Uh, but if I were to have time to think about it, I would make the play that I told you that I would do. You know, things are different when you're watching than when you're playing the game. So don't feel like you needed to do everything that I said. But when you break it down to like each individual situation, um, you're just one or two things away from turning the tides there. And I think that's the key to climbing is don't feel like you need to do it all. Just understand that there's one thing that you could have done better. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, sometimes you can't win them all. I didn't win them all when I was claiming, and I still don't win them all now. So like, it's just how it is. But it's good to understand what you could have done that could have turned the tides.